This right here is all I need. Just give me a scene where Masho and Ravelin talk to each other so that my little brain that's so obsessed with voice actor connections can be happy. Yes, I have issues. Why do you ask? Okay, but seriously, let's take a little closer look at this trailer and then this interesting little poster that also happens to have the staff listings for our convenience. It's also worth mentioning that there is a website for this film, but it doesn't cover anything that isn't already here, and it's also slow as molasses, so I'd say wait until they optimize it before you check it out for yourself. Anyway, the first scene of this trailer featured Sora seemingly lost in another world. So wait, this girl from an isekai got isekai to Earth, and then isekai to yet another world. Yeah, that sounds like a convoluted enough setup for a light novel. She was then attacked by a bit of a Zakenda-looking baddie before being rescued by two Cures who bounced off of a vertical surface, Manatsu and Yui. What, you were expecting someone else? We then got some quick glances at the new movie-exclusive characters, Cure Supreme, and I'm guessing her partner, Puka, since they do seem to have a similar design as the Cure. Also, fun fact, Puka in Hawaiian means hole, and those eyes certainly look like they've seen into the abyss. But yeah, a very nice design for a white, or maybe another rainbowish Cure when we already have Manatsu in this movie. I mean, I really do like her pointy hair that almost seems to turn into bunny ears to match up with her partner. Though those cold, dead eyes do kind of make me a little sus of her, says the guy who also has his doubts about Shala. Fortunately, she might play a different role, but we'll get into that in just a bit. We then got some quick cuts of each of the other Hirogaru team members with some vets. Mashiro was on a beach along with the 6 rangers of the previous 2 seasons, and would later be joined by Nodaka, which again is the most important thing to me at least. Agel was with her fellow sort of adult Cures. I mean, Yukari is just a year younger, Asumi is physically 20, and Lala is considered a legal adult on her planet. Lastly, Tsubasa and L were with the most random assortment of Cures, Haruka, Saya, and Kotoha. I guess you could say they're like the most soothing members of their teams with feathers and flowers. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe someone on staff is just a big Iruma/Ameri shipper. But yeah, this is basically like a DX3 setup, with each group fulfilling at least some sort of theme. Though this is going to be a little different in that 1, we're dealing with a smaller cast with 16 if we also count Supreme, which puts this film right in between DX1 and 2 in terms of numbers. This in my opinion works out a lot better, as we have seen what happens when there's too many Cures. It feels needlessly crowded, and the main plot of the film just can't properly develop when everyone is competing for screen time. I also find it interesting that they just kind of cherry pick a few members from the past 8 years, with Haruka representing the earliest season Gold Princess. The end of the trailer does hint that their other teammates, as well as some other past teams, will show up, but they might not have that big a role for reasons we'll get to in just a bit. For now though, it seems like they're using a similar setup as the Gal Ranger vs Super Sentai and Bokendra vs Super Sentai crossover films. The latter notably introduced Aka Red, the spirit of all of the Sentai Reds, which maybe is a similar role that Supreme will fulfill, rather than just being another twist villain, which I would prefer. For now though, I will say I like this setup a lot more than some previous crossovers. Going back to the plot, we still don't know that much, but all of the group seem to realize that they needed to be at the center of the world, which was a big, mysterious castle. However, once they did meet, they just as quickly got separated again, with particular focus on Sora and Mashiro. Kind of appropriate considering what happened in this week's episode that this trailer immediately followed. On that note, I'm not sure if the lead Cures of the 2 more slice-of-life seasons can really mentor Sora, especially after this week's episode. Anyway, we then got a scene of Supreme facing down, oh god, is that Black Doom from Shadow the Hedgehog? Oh great, now everything is going to be needlessly edgy, which, considering who's writing this, might not even be that far off. And we also saw L interact with Puka, which does seem to confirm a certain spoiler character might not appear until at least after this film. But yeah, I did some pretty good action scenes, that was the trailer. We also got confirmation that the Miracle Lights were back after a few years of COVID restrictions. They were called the Resurrection Lights, which, wow, that's kind of foreboding. Also, something I just realized while editing, the word for resurrection in Japanese is Fukatsu. Dragon Ball Z 復活の F Yeah, there's your F. And featured Sora and Masho on them because, yeah, we haven't gotten enough shipping between these two already. I mean, what else could they throw at us? Oh, come on! But yeah, as for the actual return of the lights, I will say I'm okay with it as long as everyone else is okay with it. I mean, yes, I've taken a lot of jabs at these little flashlights, but you know, as long as they don't take up too much focus and screen time, I don't mind them too much. That said, I do hope that theater goers are okay with kids waving them around and likely yelling at the theaters post-pandemic. I'll be the first to admit that I don't mask up that much these days, but I just hope that others aren't bothered by it too much at least 3 years later. It does make me believe that at the very least they won't encourage verbal cheering, but we'll just have to wait and see. Lastly, let's take a look at this poster here, and again, damn, y'all are determined to make the ship sail, aren't ya? But yeah, with Sora and Masho literally taking center stage, the film does seem like it'll focus on them for the most part. Supreme is surprisingly kind of an afterthought here, so again, maybe she's more of a divine entity, kind of like Aqua Red, overseeing the growth of their respective franchises. And surrounding them were their teammates and all of the past cures we saw in this trailer. And sure enough, this voice cast lists everyone we see here, minus Supreme, who along with Puka are likely going to be saved as like a surprise or something. It also seems to at least confirm that only these characters will have speaking roles and therefore be featured. And again, I kind of find it funny how Ai Kakuma covers two characters here. From there, we got listings for the music of this film, which included the main theme being done by the band Ikimo Gakari, who I mostly know for their opening to the first season of Seven Deadly Sins. And of course, Machiko was going to sing the opening titled For F, which, okay, y'all are just daring people to say a certain profanity, aren't ya? Last, and most importantly, as I say for these productions, we got the writer, which was good old Jin Tanaka, likely off the headache that was the second season of Misfit of the Demon King Academy. But yeah, if y'all ever want one of the more cynical Precure writers, my hands raised, who can also write some great character pieces, this is your man. His work on Go Princess and Laid Back Camp speaks for itself. And speaking of that former series, the other Tanaka, Yuta, is going to be the director. The Tanakas have worked a lot together and tend to do some great work, so even if you're not a big fan of this dude's writing, you can at least be assured that this is a strong pairing. Meanwhile, character design and chief animation direction is going to be handled by Nishiki Idoka, which, yeah, I think that alone says more than enough. And overall, this trailer and poster does leave me very hopeful for this upcoming film. It not only scratches some personal itches that I've really wanted to see, but I also think the versus Super Sentai format will work out much better by just giving us a sampler platter of previous seasons rather than overflowing the plate. We still don't know much about the actual plot, but Supreme is an intriguing character and a really cool design. Still, what do y'all think? Are you looking forward to this? And are you as obsessed with seeing Ai Kakuma play two characters at the same time as me? Let us know in the comments below. And until then though, for now my friends, and you know what, to celebrate this, I think we should do another crossover review of some sort. But what could we do? Well, let's see what this gives us. Yeah, this'll do.